In the featherweight division, undefeated Paris Stanford versus Andy Perez.
5 years the senior, Andy Perez, 1 inch reach advantage.
Come on, ready to fight.
Definitely a buzz in this Tucson, Arizona crowd for this bout. Perez wants the fast start. Stanford wants the methodical start. Make no mistake. Round number 1.
Golden Boy in the green, Superhero in the black.
That's Stanford in the black, Perez in the green. Head kick immediately to the inside. Nicely done.
Nice duck under, gets those double underhooks. That was beautiful.
Double underhooks to the body lock from Andy Perez.
And that's cool. He's wearing the same underwear that he wore at the weigh-ins yesterday.
Remember, we're online, CombateAmericas.com.
Andy Perez getting reversed. Gotten his back put up against the jaula.
Now looking for the takedown off of the level change, Paris Stanford.
Perez has got the double under.
Looking for the outside trip, now taking the back standing. No thought, though, of a standing rear naked choke. Now looking for it. Trying to fish in one hook.
Perez doing a good job of facing his opponent, trying to get out of that.
Just crank position, now switching to the guillotine. Perez, good recognition defensively, popping his head free.
Popping it free, and they're back to the feet. Nice
Perez stepping
feint.
in, hard outside kick. Stanford couldn't fully check it. Stanford, this is the methodical start he talked about.
Perez looking for his range. Ooh, nice snappy head kick from Paris.
Hard outside kick lands from Andy Perez. 3:25 remaining round 1. Perez feigning with the uppercut. And feigning with the rear kick.
Oh my gosh, a big haymaker over the top with the right hand by Andy Golden Boy Perez in the green chunks.
Outside kick, Perez in that last sequence nodded his head and smiled at Stanford.
Stanford in the southpaw position. And back to the orthodox, switching his stances.
Tall stance and striking for Paris Stanford. Wide body shot. Again, walking down on the punches. Perez trying to toe a very fine line, Juliana. He wants to be extremely aggressive, but not so much, though, that he's caught, and then Stanford can start to close distance with inside fighting.
Right, and he's doing a good job of getting out of the way, seeing everything, and tripping his opponents. He's doing a great job of staying composed. You definitely don't want to overcommit.
Perez holding the overhook. Stanford with the knee. You see the finger wag from Andy Perez.
Perez, good underhook. Nice knee to the body by Paris. Ooh, big overhand and a miss from Paris Stanford, and Andy Perez in deep.
It's Andy Perez thinking about a single leg. Switching strategy, just driving the right shoulder through.
I'd like to see him switch his head position. And I'd like to see him switch his head position again.
Perez trying to fish through. Good driving pressure from Andy Perez. Paris Stanford keeping his composure back against the fence.
Yeah, Andy Perez is looking to sync up in a single leg or a double if he can get it, but Perez Stanford up against La Jaula is doing a good job of defending the takedown, using that underhook, and they're back. Nice job by Andy Perez.
Short left hand from Stanford, Perez walking through it.
And I like Perez's approach. You know, he's a gritty fighter. He likes to make it dirty. He likes to make it grimy. And sometimes that's what you got to do, especially against a guy who's undefeated, especially a guy with the ranks like a black belt in jiu-jitsu like Perez Stanford.
Good turn off the cage by Stanford. Perez trying to pull this fight back to the center of the cage. Can't do so. Lands the outside kick.
And Perez Stanford stealing the center with a big overhand right into a single.
And that's a right hand exactly to come to the inside. 60 seconds remaining round number 1.
Nice Kimura. Nice reversal by Andy Perez. Nice body kick by Andy Perez. Ooh.
Hard counter body kick lands from Paris Stanford. That drew a smile on the face of Perez. Perez feigning with the right hand. Simultaneous kicks canceling themselves out.
Uppercut to a right hand, looping right. Paris stealing the center there.
Wide swings from Andy Perez. Time called by referee Jason Herzog. Jason Herzog telling Paris Stanford, watch the fingers to the eyes. That a change to the unified rules of MMA 3 years ago. You can no longer pitchfork out your fingers. That was the warning, and then you see the finger landed as well. So time called.
Which eye was it?
Stay here. Keep your head in the game.
Andy Perez will have up to 5 minutes to recover.
I think he's okay.
Hey guys, no coaching. Thank you, sir. Right here.
Jason Herzog telling the Perez corner, no coaching.
This eye right here was poked.
It's illegal to coach under these situations. See, the cage side physician will now check the eye.
Let's see, take a look at the replay here. Oh, nice thumb right in the eye of Andy Perez. Definitely a big eye poke.
That's a situation where I believe Herzog would have warned Paris Stanford anyway, with extending the fingers again. Illegal
Right.
under the unified rules, and you see that right thumb into the left eye of Andy Perez.
And Andy Perez doing a nice job of getting back to the fight. He didn't take his 5 minutes, and they're back into the center of the jaula. Spinning back fist by Andy Perez, and the fight is back on.
Jump knee to the inside for Paris Stanford. 15 seconds now remaining, round number 1 after that timeout.
Nice, big, huge knee by Perez Stanford.
Wide swings, head kick not getting through from Stanford. Perez throwing the overhand right. There's the bell. We're headed to round 2. Heading into round number 2 of this featherweight fight. Bout number 4 on the evening of this stacked Combate Americas card, live on DAZN. Still 5 fights headed your way.
Paris is squinting both of his eyes.
See the bounce in the step of Andy Perez to start round number 2.
Perez Stanford in the black shorts, Andy Perez in the green. Nice leg kick, but it's checked by Paris.
Big overhand right. Stanford pulling out immediately. Stanford thus far, Juliana, has not had the opportunity to exhibit his black belt jiu-jitsu.
Not yet. He hasn't been able to take Andy down. Andy's relentless, and he's kind of wild, so you can never know what to expect from a fighter like Andy Perez. Wherever the fight goes, he's fighting like as tenaciously as possible to get out of that position, and it's been really difficult for Paris to find a takedown.
Stanford landing the head kick, but it was with the foot, not with the shin. Perez walking through it. Now Stanford to the inside.
Perez is doing a good job of using the jaula, spreading those legs wide, and Perez is trying to get that takedown. Finally gets it.
Stanford immediately steps in the full mount, made that look effortless.
Beautiful job.
Stanford told me, once I get this fight to the ground, not if, but once and when, this fight is mine. Through the back door. Oh, that's gorgeous from Perez. Tenacious, trying to gain top position.
Dude, Perez is so tenacious that you can never know what to expect from this guy. He's always scrambling from every position that he's getting. He's scrambling everywhere.
You see the old school ear slaps from Paris Stanford. Trying to open up space into closed guard now for Stanford. Gorgeous scramble in the last sequence from Andy Perez. Stanford just simply getting too high. Perez finding the back door. Again, you see the ear slaps. That shades of Horion Gracie circa 1990.
Jason Herzog warning both fighters, I need to see some action or I'm going to stand you guys up, and that's a scary thing, especially when you've been working so hard to finally get the takedown. I'd like to see him pass those legs, though.
You see the active bottom game of Paris Stanford, cage walking from the open guard, not content just to play closed guard.
Not content to play close guard, and Andy Perez needs to recognize that and try to work for a pass to advance his position. There it is. Almost.
Definite swelling. That mouse you alluded to earlier, Juliana, under the left eye of Paris Stanford.
Definitely.
Now posturing on his hip. Looking for a Kimura is Stanford.
And Andy Perez needs to recognize that and sit on that hip because his arm's about to get ripped out.
Stanford told me, I would prefer to be on top, but I will be extremely comfortable if I'm on bottom in this fight.
And you know, if you can't get that Kimura, you can almost get a Kimura sweep. So let's see what Paris Stanford can do here. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
You see referee Jason Herzog looking at the Kimura. Stanford has lost it. Good submission defense from Perez. Back into the closed guard of Paris Stanford.
I love it. Andy Perez is not letting the fact that he's going up against a jiu-jitsu black belt play into his head at all. And sometimes that can be a scary, intimidating thing to go up against when you are a blue belt.
What was Perez saying about his heart being his best asset? That's on display thus far in this fight. This is gritty, tenacious from Andy Perez thus far.
Yeah.
135 remaining round 2.
He's got grit, man.
Close guard, low close guard for Paris Stanford. Trying to implement his high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Love it.
See the controlling of the arms by Stanford.
And Stanford has his hands locked right underneath, and it's really hard for Andy to get anything to advance his position when he's like that. But he's working to get it, and Perez is trying to advance his position.
See the strikes from the bottom from Paris Stanford. Perhaps strikes of frustration. Back to close guard after playing with half butterfly for Stanford.
And Jason Herzog says, I need to see more action back to the feet. And here we go.
Stand up indeed from Jason Herzog. Back to its center of the cage. And looking for the single leg is Andy Perez.
You got to be careful. He has his head so far deep in there that he could get guillotined.
Looking for the switch now is Stanford.
And he gets it. Holding on to a single leg for dear life is Andy Perez.
There's an inverted triangle there for Stanford. I don't know if he recognizes it.
I think he does. Nice rear naked choke, trying to sink that in and come over the top with a backpack. And he gets reversed.
Again, gorgeous submission recognition. Now into the armbar.
And Andy
Going
Perez
belly down, that is really tight.
No.
A lot of pressure on the elbow.
Andy Perez is not going to stop fighting. He says he's fine.
Make sure you stay good.
Stanford going very hard. There's the tap with the foot, and the win for Paris Stanford on the straight armbar.
How we doing, brother? Tired?
Really? I think that's round 3 we're going into.
With Andy Perez, but indeed that was the end of the round. Into round 3 we go.
Yeah.
Really entertaining thus far.
He was telling Herzog, I'm fine. Herzog said, make sure you stay fine. And then that was round, so he was good. Woo!
Rear teep caught.
And Paris says, no more respect, dude. I'm coming at you.
Outside trip, that was gorgeous from Paris Stanford, immediately turning up the volume here in round 3.
It really was. You can see that Paris comes out a different fighter this time. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
See the forearm onto the jaw of Andy Perez. We're on Twitter at Combate Americas.
Andy Perez is holding on to that head, but it's not helping him at all. Once you're trying to control that head, you're not controlling the rest of the body. And this is key in a position like this. You got to get that underhook. But frick, Andy Perez scrambles from everywhere. He doesn't care. I love it.
Big knee to the body. Stanford trying to take the back. Very high in this ride.
All right.
Into the seatbelt.
Into the seatbelt and into a very, very tight position for Paris. And this is the part where he needs to put the gas pedal on and make that rear naked choke happen.
Just the one arm through. See Perez trying to roll off of the cage.
And he's rolling right into that rear naked choke. He needs to get his back to the mat, back to the mat, back to the mat. Get your back to the mat, please.
Stanford trying to free his left hand.
Paris got to step on the gas pedal here. He's not going to have a lot of opportunities to have this good of a back position again.
Stanford trying to jam in the hook. See a lot of time remaining now. 3:25 to go in this third and final round. No hurry from Paris Stanford.
3 minutes is a lot of time. He's working to get a better position and a more secure position on that rear naked choke. Andy doing a good job fighting that foot, trying to get that foot off of his hip and trying to turn into his opponent. And he does it. And yes.
From a crank position, now a half Nelson for Stanford. Lost it, trying to suck in that near side wrist.
He's looking for the reversal, but he needs to be careful here because he can get caught.
Short hammer fist from Stanford. Just gritty, tenacious defense from Andy Perez.
And either he needs to hold his own shorts or he needs to sit on that left hip because Paris has a Kimura and it looks tight. And if he doesn't get to pull that Kimura out, he can transition right to a triangle. But he really needs to step on that gas pedal, put a little horsepower on it.
Stanford, though, getting very high. Definitely in triangle position now as Perez Stanford, and he locks it on.
All right, that's good. You cannot bench press out of a triangle, but Andy Perez is doing exactly that. He's trying to bench press out of this. Perez needs to finish this triangle. Andy Perez gets it out. Whatever you put him in, he gets out.
Losing his legs again. Gritty, tenacious from Andy Perez. Outstanding submission defense.
Andy Perez inside control, doing a great job of getting out of everything that Paris, the black belt, has tried to put him in. Needs to use that shoulder pressure to secure his position, going for his own.
Knee on belly.
Woo.
Almost full mount achieved against the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt by Andy Perez.
Nice
And the
job.
chant of Andy from this Tucson crowd. This is what tenacity looks like.
Beautiful job by Perez Stanford to get his guard back. Way to not let him pass all the way.
Perez Stanford closing seconds of round number 2 had that arm bar tight. Here in round 3 had that triangle tight.
And Andy Perez has just been relentless the entire time. He has had his mind made up from the beginning of the weigh-ins yesterday, from the beginning of taking and accepting this fight, from the beginning of every single round. He comes out there screaming, yes, yes, yes. He will not be denied, and that's exactly what you're seeing right now.
Holding top position, Andy Perez. 1 minute remaining in this outstanding featherweight fight. Nothing decided yet. That heavy, grinding top pressure from Andy Perez.
Andy Perez needs to keep working, keeping that ground and pound going,
Working to finish it, guys.
or Jason's going to stand it back up. He gave him a warning. Perez got back to his feet. He's got a little over 30 seconds to get the job done. He's got to go for broke here.
When you're thinking about the judges' scorecards, remember, under the unified rules of MMA, before you consider anything else, it's effective grappling and effective striking. Basically, if you're defending, you are losing.
Absolutely. It's like in football. Whoever controls the ball wins. And Andy Perez has been controlling a majority of this fight. But Perez finally gets the reversal, lays some heavy right hands on him, looking for that rear naked choke.
Final seconds, one hook in, high on the back. Perez tucking his chin. The bell and the end of a high-quality fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have a split decision. Tenemos una decisión dividida. Judge at ringside, Fred Encina, scores about 29-28, 29-28, a favor de Perez Stanford. Judge at ringside, Steve Sandoval, scores about 29-28, 29-28, a favor de Andy Golden Boy Perez. And judge at ringside, Tony Zeno, sees about 29-28, 29-28, a favor del ganador, in favor of the winner. From Tucson, Arizona, Andy Golden Boy Perez.
The biggest win of his life and the biggest fight of his life by way of split decision.